Listeners, we bake with another episode of Unlabeled the podcast. I got my good brother Kendall in the building. How you feeling?
Come on.
How you feeling this week, Kendall?
Feeling great, man. Feeling good. How about you guys?
I'm doing great, man. And also, I have my Trey in the building. How you feeling this week, brother?
Man, fantastic, man. Good to be back.
That's what I'm talking about. And also got Tristan in the building. For a lot of y'all who not familiar, Tristan also does the Pops Project podcast with me. He's been on hiatus because he had a few things he had to handle, personal issues he had to handle. I won't say issues, personal things. I'm sorry if I'm
Life.
yeah, life. You know what I'm saying? But welcome to Unlabeled, brother. How you feeling this week?
Man, I'm feeling good. Glad to be here with you guys. Finally get to hear the voices of the other guys from Unlabeled.
Right.
Good.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Man, appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I had to start off with a couple of strong lyrics here. You know what I'm saying? Some representation. Because we got Juneteenth coming up. What y'all got planned for Juneteenth? I know a lot of us just make it one of them holidays that's kind of just like there. And, you know, I don't know if a lot of us take it literal or if we actually celebrate it the way that we should, being black people. But do y'all have any special plans, or y'all just don't got nothing planned for Juneteenth?
I think here, go ahead.
I said, I'm going to come clean. Last year was the first year we celebrated it, man. We canceled 4th. We ain't do nothing on the 4th. We took it full-fledged.
Okay.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's what's up. Kendall, how about you? You got any plans for Juneteenth, or you just chilling?
Yeah, we going to some just some things that's out here, just some events. But I'm also I'm actually we have some events also with the network. You know, the ERG that I'm in at work. So
okay.
And then there's a few different regions that'll be getting involved together to throw an event. To again, to push and to get people to understand the importance of it, and also.
I lost you there for a second, Kendall. Can y'all hear
you
Kendall?
muted yourself, bro.
I'm sorry, and to make it a normal holiday, similar to what Tristan is doing. You know what I'm saying? Basically, how he's like, we ain't even celebrating the 4th, and I'm not necessarily saying it would necessarily have to be that, but I like the way that he's stressing it. Like, no, we gonna do this. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're trying to push. So
yeah, and if y'all don't understand the significance of Juneteenth, I'm not sure if a lot of our listeners are familiar, but we did a whole podcast about it last year. You can go back and look at Juneteenth podcast where we had Marjorie Henderson on, and like I said, y'all can go listen to the whole episode. We give you a whole history breakdown of Juneteenth and its significance. So yeah, it's very important, especially as a Black American. So definitely check out that episode and do some research if y'all not familiar with it. I'll save y'all, let y'all do y'all own research on this one. But also,
yeah, we doing. I think we doing. Lamar's having an event. We actually had listeners. We had Lamar on. He's the owner of A Fresh. Clothing line. We had him on a few episodes ago, but he's actually doing a big event, I believe. So I'm gonna go ahead and check that out. So,
oh yeah, that's dope. I didn't even know nothing about that. Yeah, tell them to hit me up before next week so we can get it out there so the listeners can be aware.
Yeah.
Well, one of the first topics I want to bring up. I'm not sure if y'all seen this, but it's this. I call it the Bonnet Chronicles, where we got this question in our community. Image has been a huge topic lately, and it was this picture of these young ladies circling around the internet, walking through the airport with bonnets and slides on and pajama clothes and everything like that. And also Monique recently just experienced some of the same issues, so she actually went on her platform and actually spoke on it. I'm gonna play a little bit of it here. A lot of people had a lot to say about this. I want to know how y'all felt about it, but I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit of this, Monique. Hold on one second.
But there are times where Auntie got to talk to her babies.
Let me rewind this.
And say some real. Hey, my sweet babies. So, it took me a minute to say what I'm getting ready to say because I want to make sure I'm not saying it in judgment, and I want to make sure I'm saying it from a place of love. Y'all, some of y'all have given me the title of Auntie, and I'm honored that y'all do that, right? But there are times where Auntie got to talk to her babies and say some real shit. So yesterday, I was in the airport in Atlanta because I'm in Jackson, Mississippi now at Chuckles Comedy Club, right? And we
Shameless
got 3
plug.
shows tonight. We got a matinee at 5:30, then we got 7, then we got 10, right? And I'm excited. I always love going to the stage. So when we got to the airport yesterday, I was excited, like, all right, baby, let's go get him in Jackson, Mississippi. And as we began to walk through the airport, I saw so many, actually too many to count, and too many for me to tap. But I saw so many of our young sisters in head bonnets, scarves, slippers, pajamas, blankets wrapped around them, and this is how they're showing up to the airport. And I've been seeing it, not just at the airport, I've been seeing it at the store, at the mall. I've been seeing sisters showing up with these bonnets and headscarves and their slippers. And the question that I'm having to you, my sweet babies, when did we lose pride in representing ourselves? When did we step away of let me make sure I'm presentable when I leave my home? Let me make sure I'm representing the family I created so that if I'm out in the street, I look like I have pride in myself. And I'm not saying no full face of makeup. I'm not saying no full front lace frontal. I'm not saying none of that. All I'm saying is, could you please comb your hair? And if you don't,
I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there because that's pretty much it. Just because I feel like she was about to go down a whole rabbit hole of shit. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there. But how do y'all feel about that? Because I know, speaking for me, you, and me, I can speak for me and my trade personally. When I can say that when we step out the house, we are gonna at least be presentable. Like I said, I ain't saying we're gonna throw on no suit or no button up or nothing like that. But when we step out the house, when we going out somewhere, we're gonna at least be presentable. So when you meeting us, you meeting us at our best. You know what I mean? It really don't even matter if we just run into the store. But how do y'all feel about that? I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go ahead and expound a little bit. Kendall, you can go first.
Yeah, I can go ahead first.
I'll go, man. Even I understand the whole you want to be comfortable, especially if you're gonna be traveling all day, you getting on flights and stuff like that. But like the bonnet, come on now, like that shit is used for when you get your hair done and you don't want to mess it up while you going to sleep. That's what it's for. You know what I'm saying? So like that shit tramp e when women be wearing that shit outside, bro. When I see that shit, that's a whole turn off, bro. Like I don't want nothing to do with that shit. And if my woman, like, if I was dating somebody and she tried to go outside like that, come on, fam, it ain't gonna happen. Like take that shit off and do your hair. I think it's really because motherfuckers want to be lazy. They don't want to unwrap their shit and do it before they finna go somewhere. They like, you know what I'm saying? So they just keep it on, especially if they traveling and stuff like that. But I hate that shit. I don't, man. That bonnet. You know what? Even low key, even if like you laying next to me in bed, don't have that bonnet on. Go get that silk scarf. Get that silk scarf and wrap that motherfucker up.
Unless you
Straight
mad,
up, though.
unless you
That
mad, then you
bonnet's
can wear the
so
bonnet.
that bonnet's so ugly to me, bro. Like that shit horrible, man. So,
Tristan.
but like Ron said, though, I was just taught to you look good, you gonna feel good. So when I leave the house, I might not get suited and booted or nothing, but I'm still gonna look very presentable. You know what I mean? So I look at it like that. I
Hopefully, you don't have no
100%,
do rag on.
right. What's up?
Your bonnet.
Tristan,
what I'm gonna have to do right now?
Yeah, Tristan, how do you feel about that, man?
Go ahead, Tristan.
I concur. I agree, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. I think that the generations simply have changed. So who's to say that those are the rules that should be here today? Like we look at it from, I call it, that's grandma rules. Grandma always say when you go out, you look good, you look presentable, you blah 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 blah. But we dealing with grandmas now that's 45,
right?
Who aren't living like that, you know, and those same rules may not apply anymore. I think it is unpresentable, but you know, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, we're in a different time, different generation, so nobody hold those standards any longer.
And Kendall, how you feel about it?
I pretty much agree with some of along the lines of what Tristan's talking about. The generation has changed. I mean, actually, Star was actually talking about this on his podcast. He said, you know, when did you niggas become so comfortable wearing slides out in public? You know what I'm saying? And I think that it has a lot to do with comfort, like he was saying. Like people just don't even really care anymore. I mean, that's really the reality of the situation. And I think that I think it should change to an extent. I think that people should care a little bit more about what they're, how they're presenting themselves. But it's just all across the board. It's just like people walking around with the pants hanging off the ass still to this day, and like they don't care, and they walking around with dusty socks, wearing slides, and just carrying on. I just think as a whole, like I just think it needs to change. But to Monique's point, Monique is strictly just talking about her from what she's seeing from her perspective with women. And I think that she should talk about it, because if it's coming from her perspective, and like she's a little bit more old school in the same breath too. If she wants to comment about how she feels that women should present themselves in a certain way, I'm fully for that, because it's her perspective, and I think that more women should listen to a perspective coming from an old head, as they say, because I think a lot of us need to really respect where that comes from, and I think a lot of us don't really do that as much as we should. So,
yeah, and along the lines of the things that all y'all said, because I agree with every last one of y'all statements. I believe that you should have the generations has changed. I believe that a lot of people are doing it just out of comfort, and I also believe that you should represent yourself in a certain way when you outside of your home. The major issue is you're the one that have to live with those results. So if you're presenting yourself at a certain type of way, if you walk outside the house with a bonnet on, a do-rag, some slides, I hate seeing. I'm a person. I say it all the time. I hate seeing grown man feet. If you're a grown ass man, I don't want to see your raggedy ass toes in the open toe slides, especially if you got ashy feet. Like we not rocking it. We not rocking with that at all. I hate that shit. I hate it with a passion. I do not want to see no grown man feet out in public. But also, like I said, I'm of the same old school mentality that you should present yourself in a certain fashion. When I've traveled many places overseas, and I've never seen people come outside with gym clothes on. I'm talking about sweats, basketball shorts, silkies as we like to call them in our community. None of that. Every time I seen somebody step out, they was in hard bottoms, slacks, and a button up. Outside of this country, now Americans, we get somewhere, we wearing jerseys out, we wearing stuff to be quote unquote comfortable, and in other cultures it's just not acceptable. And we've gotten so far away from that in our culture. I think we do need to step back into that lane a little bit as far as being respectable and being prideful when you come out of your house, because you never know what opportunities is going to present themselves to you. So you need to be looking a certain way. Now you have the right, because we Americans, you can go outside looking any kind of way you want to, but you're the one that's going to have to live with those results. If you miss right, exactly. You're gonna miss if you miss an opportunity.
we normalize those things,
right? Exactly.
Just like we normalize baby mamas. We're fine with 12 kids.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? And have no problem doing that. We have no problem, we normalize it. So it's just about what's important to you. You know what I mean? And in this country, there's a lot of stuff that flies. You can go. There's a lot of stuff we can just do. I mean, we can go down the line, but. It's just about what we allow and what we're, what do we need to change, or what are we going to change? And if we're not going to change it, we're going to see all this comfort.
Right. That's a fact.
And that's what it is.
Yeah. And I definitely think it need to be changed in this. Hopefully our listeners and our people in our community and our tribe can represent. Hold on 1 second, Trey.
It could be a coincidence, but every time you see a fight at the airport, what's involved? A bonnet.
A bonnet. You ignorant as hell, Trey.
Straight up, man. Take that shit off, ladies.
Yeah. But
I wonder, just to piggyback on it a little bit, I wonder how much does the man that the woman is involved with have to do with that bonnet? Because when women are at a certain point in their life and they start to deal with upper echelon men, those qualities that are beneath that man start to change. A lot of these women that you see out in public with those bonnets on aren't the women that's going to be exposed or around that man that's not going to allow that. The man that she's with is the one with the slides, the do-rag, the pants below his ass. So it kind of plays a significant part as well.
About choice, what you allow.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know. Like I said, a lot of those women they exude masculine energy, and they're not even going to allow themselves to be led by a man for the most part. So I definitely feel you in that sense.
And a lot of them don't know how to lead,
And that's a
so
fact.
There's that too.
Yeah, that's fact. But yeah, so no, I ain't just putting all the blame on the women, like I said, because
No, I'm not even saying you are.
Tristan brought up a very valid point.
To Tristan's point.
Yeah,
what Tristan's saying, they're not talking to, to his quote, upper echelon type of guys.
Type of guys, right?
So there you go.
Yeah, and that's why I said that's when it boils back to choice and you having to live with it if you want. So basically, what we're saying is, if you looking to attract a certain type of gentleman, I don't think bonnets and slides in the airport is gonna slide. And same thing for guys. Right. If you want to attract a certain type of opportunity, or even a woman of some semblance of value or substance, you shouldn't be walking around with your pants below your ass and slides with socks on and your rusty ass feet out in Walmart.
Looking like he just got done hooping. That's it.
Yeah. But this is since we still on culture, I'm gonna bring this up as well. About women being the purveyors of culture. I think a large reason why this is even a big topic is because we tend to look at women in our community. I think every community does, not just the black community, but we tend to look at women as they're teaching the next generation, because they're the ones that are at the home with the kids. They're the one that's nurturing the children. So when you see them do things like this, it's easy for us to pass judgment on them. You know what I mean? Because we look at them as the purveyors of culture. You know what I mean? They're the ones teaching the next generation. It's not so much the men. We pretty much out in the traditional sense. We're pretty much the ones that are earning and providing. So I think that's why this has become such a big issue, is because the way we look at women in our culture, and I think that's just world culture in general in the traditional sense. And then another topic I also wanted to touch on was things I've been seeing in the community. I hear this phrase all the time about black people not being monolithic, and us having different identities and individuality and everything like that. So don't judge us as far as how one person acts in our culture. But I also think that it's time for us to have a little bit of to actually be monolithic when it comes to culture. How do y'all feel about that statement? Do y'all feel like that black people should react more as a group when it comes to culture, so we can get farther in the United States? And
100%.
Yeah, and I want to point back to the '60s, because in the '60s we had those statements. Black is Black Power, Black Pride. Had a lot of people wearing naturals and also coming out with suits on and and marching and stuff. You never seen nobody wearing street clothes in the '60s when we were actually trying to get things done for our culture. So that's what I mean when I say,
you knew you couldn't.
Right, exactly.
That was why.
Mm-hmm. So but how do you feel about that statement though, as far as us needing to move as one as a culture?
Go ahead, yeah. Guest. Let the guest go first, brother.
Look, we should, but is it going to happen? No. Is it the right thing to do? Yes. Mm-hmm. In the '60s, there was no choice. Nothing was for play. You couldn't play around with anything. We had agendas. We had to get things done. Mm-hmm. But that did help our culture a lot, man. We could shop with each other. We could, everything that we did was with each other. Our economy was much better, much stronger. Now, we don't have those things. None of those things are in place. You got options. It's scattered all around. I don't even think people even embrace the blackness the way that they should. It's on and off. They turn it on and off. It's good to be black one day. It's bad to be black the next day. So if we could move monolithic, great. But is it going to happen? No, because it's too much it's too sway. Everybody's opinions is different.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think it's any way that we can kind of inspire, kind of even make some, I don't say legislation, but kind of make some plans as far as like getting us to move in that direction as a culture? You know what I mean?
You got groups and people that's doing those type of things, but the vast majority is, I think that's a hard task to get accomplished.
Well, I think it's becoming a little bit easier. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Trey, and I'll let you go after I just add this to it. I think it's becoming a little bit easier because with the internet, we're starting to see our culture is kind of shrinking, and thoughts are kind of shrinking. So you're starting to get more groups of people who are starting to think alike. Because I'm going to bring up to a point like Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown has this huge platform, and now, I mean, I watched him gain. When I first started watching Kwame Brown content, I think he had about 80,000 followers on YouTube, and now he's up to like 390 some followers because he's been on these media personalities' head. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. Hold on one second. Something's going on here. My headphones acting stupid. 1 second. What the heck is that? Anyway, these dang $100 headphones acting like they got a short in them. I hope not. But anyway, Kwame Brown, he's been, like I said, on this platform, he's been talking about all these things in our community as far as how these different media personalities attack black men constantly, and he's grown a huge following. He covered a myriad of topics, but those are just a couple of things I was speaking about now. But it's starting to get people. You see a lot of people rallying behind him, even after all of the drama that he was going through the last month or so. He still continued to garner a lot of attention and garner a huge following. So I think it's shrinking in that aspect. Trey, what were you about to say? I'll let you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, man, I just feel like the U.S. government has us right where they want us. Mm-hmm. Like, just from the history of America and blacks being here from slavery. Anytime people of color tried to come together, what they call us kind of terrorists, all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like they got us where they want us, bro. Like, and I agree with Tristan, bro. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen. It would be good if it did happen. It'd be fantastic, actually. But I don't know if us as a people are gonna just do it. And just from the timeline of history, our government, they not gonna let it happen. You know what I mean? Or they gonna try to do anything they can to stop that from happening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how Kendall feel about it,
but well, I'm different with in like terms of what I think nowadays, because like I said, I have seen some things change that I didn't think would, as a result of, like you said, technology, Jerome, and also we actually have people in some semblance of power with the Democratic position, especially with the squad, quote unquote. Some of them are making some great ground, and I think that with legislation, some things can switch with that. It just has to be, like you said, doesn't necessarily have to be one accord on everything, because everything doesn't necessarily have to be one accord. Because like Tristan was talking about, we live in a time now where everybody has a certain level of freedom that they believe that they really have, and so now it's different. People don't really care. So like, you got people in your circles that, you know, yeah, like Tristan was saying, yeah, it's cool right now, but like, okay, after that shit over with, I don't really care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Or you're more so focused on you, like, oh, well, shit, nigga, I got to get mine. I got to do this for my family, me and mine. I got to worry about me, and it's always me and mine. But it's like, that works, but it still takes a village to take care of me and mine. Right. And sometimes we kind of forgot that in a way. But to Trey's point as well, there are things that have caused that to happen. You know, there are programs that we've tried to have. There are things that we tried to enforce that have gotten shut down. You got the Black Panthers as a result of that. Yeah. You got organizations that have tried, but they shut them down, or they take it. You know, you Black Wall Street. There are other towns that have been destroyed. They don't even talk about, that had neighborhoods and places where we were trying to formulate community, but things happen and or shit gets blown up. So I'm not saying that it's every case that causes it. There's some things that are self-inflicted that we cause. I mean, if we you know, we want to really break down some things. I mean, hip hop music is a prime example of very destructive elements that cause us to act the way that we do in a lot of ways. So a lot of our music is very destructive, but there's no legislation being put. They're not saying, let's get rid of this music. They're saying, well, I mean, it's making us money, so I mean, we're going to continue doing what we do. And at the same time, some of us want to hear that kind of music, but it's because we've been indoctrinated since birth almost with this music, especially the young generation. Right. Hip hop is the #1 genre in the world right now. And I'm not saying music destroys everything, but I'm saying music does influence. It influences way more than a fucking video game. Right. So it's just, you know, it's again about things that we're allowing and things that we might need to look at ourselves and change too, in a way. Not saying that it's all our fault though, but at the same time, there are things that we have to change as a whole. And then also to Trey's point, there are things that we're going to know that are going to get in the way, but we have to be ready for those things as well and put more emphasis on government and get more people involved in it, because that's really the only way that we're going to change those things. Or if we have, to your point, Jerome, one accord where we damn near storming the Capitol. Well, not the way that the Jackals did in January,
correct?
But damn near storming the Capitol and putting people's feet to the fire. Like, hey, this shit still hasn't changed. We're seeing A, B, and C, or to your point, Jerome, we seeing stop the Asian hate and this and that. But what about this? So these are the things that are going to have to, to me, in my opinion, going to have to kind of be enforced as a whole, not just one thing. It has to be several different things in place to be on one accord.
Right. And that we were speaking about, you brought up Stop Asian Hate. But before we go into that, because that's actually my next topic, I want to just say something that go to the point where you were talking about hip hop. Because you were saying that hip hop is, a lot of hip hop music is destructive. And I 100% agree with you. And, I've always been able to separate, compartmentalize that, this is entertainment. But I know some people,
absolutely. But a lot of people are not.
Right.
Yeah,
the majority isn't. To your point.
Because real quick, because if look at what's my man shit, he having like problems right now with prison, or he's under investigation or indicted him or something like that. He was talking to Lil Wayne's daughter or something like that.
Lucci.
Like if he's not real, like right now we like, oh, he's stupid as hell, you a dumbass. But like, okay, but I mean, I'm rapping about this shit.
I gotta.
And so, like, if I can't be real about this, then y'all not gonna buy. You're not gonna really want to listen to my music. That's sometimes what the thought process is. And I'm not saying that we can't compartmentalize, because most people can. But well, I don't even say most. Some of us can. But I think there are people that if they not saying what they're doing, we don't want it.
We don't want it. Exactly.
And I'm not saying we as a we, but
right. I get what you're saying.
The people consuming the music, especially people that don't look like us.
So. And I think that's why you get the quote unquote conscious rappers are so important, like the J. Cole's, the Rhapsodies,
and
Lupe's, and all that, because they kind of balance it out. But like I said, it's still, if you look at their audience base versus like these artists who are
it's way more.
Yeah, it's way more. Exactly. Right. And that's why I kind of
you just made up a real good point, Jerome. Lupe and Jermaine J. Cole.
Jermaine Cole.
I might just call him Jermaine. That's what was getting to at this point. He's getting crazy. But you just said it. Their fan base. I mean, remember when Lupe had that problem in Atlantic?
They was outside.
They stormed New York. Bring that damn album out. What are y'all doing? Leo Cohen, fool ass, came out with a boombox.
He had a lot of problems.
You know what I mean? He went outside like, okay, we're gonna bring it out. Literally with a boombox. Same thing with J. Cole. Whatever J. Cole releases, bro, that shit's going platinum.
Yeah.
Because he has a definite fan base that's like, we want that shit. But you have other people that like, oh, that nigga put me to sleep. Oh, that nigga boring. And I ain't hearing this shit. This shit trash. And it's like, bro, you didn't even listen to the album. You probably listened to 2 tracks. And then you got bored with whatever that man was talking about. You don't like J. Cole. Just say that.
Right. Or
you have people that just strictly ride with J. Cole because he with Jay-Z. Like, you have, he's got a fan base. So but that's what's wrong with the conscious music. Most of them have to have like a fan base. Otherwise, that shit's not going to be heard amongst all ears. The only person that's really doing that right now is Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't get overly with it. He does in his music, and you don't even realize it. but it's still to where you can consume it in your ear. To me,
his biggest attempt at that was To Pimp a Butterfly, and the reception to that when it first came out, it wasn't there. Exactly. It didn't resonate to damn near 4 years later, and people like, oh, he was talking about that now. What's going on right now?
Yeah. Same thing with Damn. Damn is the prime example of that type of music. He is rapping about this. It's To Pimp a Butterfly, damn near part 2, but it's done in a different way. He's just he's damn near masking it. He's just a genius. But but that's, to me, that's just kind of what I look at. But I'm sorry, Ron, to cut you off. But your points was grand with what I was 100 grand with what I was talking about.
No,
so.
no, that's fine. And another thing is for us to move monolithic, and that's why I think this is so important. And these type of platforms and these type of conversations is to kind of it's kind of unlock people's mind, because not a lot of people think on a deep level like this. And I mean, I didn't for years. You know what I mean? So that's I just want people to think about this, because we allow, to your point earlier about somebody being real, we allowed Tekashi 6ix9ine to have this humongous fan base, and everybody knew he wasn't out there doing the stuff that he was doing. But think about it. Why was that though? Because it's a little Hispanic kid. If this is somebody black, oh, you ain't doing that. You ain't living your life. You ain't real. So you know what I mean? We not accepting it in our culture, and that's and that's the trick bag right there. It's always somebody that looks like us that has to be real. You know what I mean? Versus just accepting that it's an art form and they're conveying this message. Or because like shit, we watch movies all the time and be like, oh, that movie was good. But when it comes to our art form as far as hip hop, we got to sit up there and say that somebody's not real, which is bullshit. Right. You know what I mean? So
look at how we like, and then it's nothing against them, but look how white rap is like. You almost just accept them because you're not looking for them to be quote real. You already assume like, oh nah, he lame, he that, he this or that. So you just accept it, and they now Eminem might have been a little bit different because he was one of the newer ones, like where he could really spit, and it was like, all right now, you know what I mean. But you still didn't necessarily accept it the same way. But just like other rappers now, like they don't come in, Post Malone or other raps, like they're not coming in doing some drill rap. You know what I mean? Like nobody's, because you're not gonna resonate with it. You're just gonna be like, bro, okay, get this out of here. So I think it's like you said, Jerome. We automatically just like, if it's a brother or whatever, and he's rapping about that, you better be talking about it. Otherwise, if we find out that it's not real, it's automatically it's over with. You know,
Montre, it's kind of funny because we were just having this conversation earlier about Lil Durk, and I was saying about his brother, because his brother just got killed. God rest his soul. And I was just saying, like, man, like Lil Durk, like he's rich now. Like, why are you still doing these same things?
Why
like, you don't have nothing to prove to nobody. And then I brought up G Herbo. G Herbo was on all his interviews. Like, man, I'm not in the streets no more. I'm with my family. I'm at the crib. That's where I'm at. I'm recording these songs. And I'm at the crib. Like, I'm with my daughter. Like, and so. But like I said, it just this need to be real in our culture. I think that's a mindset that needs to change. You know what I mean? Because none of us, all of us consumers, none of us are out here living this life. So why are we sitting up here portraying that our artists have to live this life? You know what I mean? It's counterintuitive.
Right. But at the same time, the rappers also need to be vocal with that too, because then it helps change the conversation. If the rappers just say, bro, yes, I'm gonna rap about that stuff for y'all, but y'all clearly know I'm like 50 Cent. Like 50, we know 50 is not still out here busting guns anymore. I hope not.
And even more. 50,
can you hire somebody?
Yeah, and even more so to your point, Rick Ross. His content's changed drastically over the years.
But even Ross was never really like talking about like busting guns or stuff like like he was all that smooth.
Spoke from a hustler standpoint.
Music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so his was never really violent or like what I mean. Like it might women may say it might be a little bit detrimental, as far as what you're talking about, which is fine. You know what I mean? But he wasn't like some music is just damn near dangerous, man. Like some of that shit is just like this is clearly made to just go fuck somebody up in about 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So I think some of that just needs to be regulated. I don't think it needs to be taken off the airwaves, because I think freedom of speech is still very important in this country. Otherwise, because if you start doing that, then they're gonna damn near try to take everything. But I think it just needs to be regulated to an extent. Like Chief Keef, this man in Cali now, like, bro, just tell them that it's not that serious anymore. You know what I mean? Like, some people just need to kind of come out and help their fan base. Otherwise, the fan base is going to take it literally.
Yeah,
some of them.
Yeah, that's a fact. And back to the point about us moving monolithically as far as culture is concerned. Like I said, and the reason we bring up hip hop is because, like I said, this is the number one art form right now as far as music is concerned. It's the number one thing that's being consumed. So the messaging in it needs to portray that, and that's why I like Lil Baby, because he sprinkles that in his music as much as he talks about the other stuff. He still sprinkles the positive messages in his music, and he's not out here moving like that. You know what I mean? Same thing with 21 Savage. 21 Savage says the same thing. He's with his kids all the time. But he's he goes into the studio. He's separating the fact that, hey, this is an art form. You know what I mean?
Clearly says, I'm an actor. I'm acting. This is acting.
Yeah.
I'm not really doing this in real life. You can't do that in real life with a $250,000 watch on your arm. It don't work that way. Bro. It don't work that way.
That's I was watching Jay-Z interview on David Letterman. It's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And David asked him about that, and he said he was like, "Oh no, these rappers they lying. Most of them lying about the shit that they talking about." He said they're not really doing that. You know what I mean? Like he said, no, this lies. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay if you used to do that, bro. And now, like you said, man, you got some money, you taking care of your family. It's all right to not do that, bro. Like, and from what Jerome was saying, Kim, I don't know if y'all had heard, but Lil Durk brother, he got killed. I think last night in front of a club or some shit, or early this morning. You know what I mean? Like, bro, your best friend just got killed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
bro.
Yeah, man. I didn't know that, but yeah, rest in peace to him. That's
Yeah,
sad, man.
yeah. That's
And that's
fucked
what I mean.
up,
You just
man.
came out with your
Yeah.
duet album with Lil Baby or
Little
whatever. You need to
baby,
be
yeah.
celebrating that, But again, it's just it's just
Yeah.
it's a crazy like lifestyle. Like nope, like you if you keep it, no other musician has to deal with like what these hip
No,
hop artists
no,
have to deal
no,
with. Now
yeah.
if y'all do dabble in a little bit of history, some of these country singers, some of them were out of their damn minds, so they was busting guns,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were not cowboys, but they were crazy.
Right.
but but at the same time, like no artists are dealing with this type of stuff, man. Like, and these
Yeah.
artists have to deal with this because they're of the environment that they're coming out of, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just very important for you to try to limit some of this stuff so that these people don't really think that this is real. Because then you're gonna just have to deal
Yeah.
with these types of problems, and there's no reason to have to deal with this type of shit. You're just trying to come out here and make your music or become an artist, and you just want to deal with that for the rest of your life. Otherwise, if you want to live that life, then I guess you want to keep. And there are some rappers that have, Fraser Star and a few others that would, from rest in peace to him and a few others that are out here, currently, but it's just like
Right.
Jay-Z said, man. I'm pretty sure most of them just it's not worth all that, man. Like, so just stay up out of that, man, for real. It's just like you said, it's just about moving now the right way. At this point, you can still be entertained by that music, just like WWE. Most people know that shit is fake, but there are a lot of people, man. You got 50-year-old men like that go to that shit faithfully, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, do you really think that's real, bro? Like, you
Right.
got to relax. You
Yeah.
got to really relax with some of this stuff because
Mm-hmm.
it's just entertainment, but a
Yeah.
lot of people take it literally, man.
Yeah.
For real.
That and I don't know if I made the point yet, but as long as white people control propaganda in the media, these things are continue to be prevalent in our community, and that's why I
For
think
sure.
that's why I was getting to the point about technology and these type of platforms and what
Changing your own.
what Kwame Brown and other creators out there doing is very important because, like I said, it's a different way of looking at things versus the shit that we being fed every single day. Now let's move on to this Stop Asian Hate. When I first heard about the Stop Asian Hate, I just thought it was a hashtag. I was like, oh, okay, this is it's a hashtag. Of course, you want to see nobody being discriminated against, and all these people out here. Were they vandalized and they're beating up Asians because of the coronavirus or whatnot? Is that where this initiated from?
Yeah.
I'm a little
Yeah.
ignorant to it, so
Yeah.
yeah. So that's where it initiated from. But it seemed like America reacted pretty swiftly to stop to these acts and creating legislation and even the media. The reason I brought it up this week is because last week I was in Houston on a vacation, and my daughter was playing PBS Kids on our iPad, and I looked up and I'm seeing basically different Asian commercials for it's kids on there because of PBS. This kid was dancing and he was talking about how Asian culture was very important to American culture and how they shouldn't be discriminated against and everything like this. And I just saw a very, very conscious effort from PBS and other platforms. Nickelodeon had something on next after that, and I was just like, I was like, pretty interesting because I haven't seen that much of a concerted effort, but one time by mass media in America to push stopping something negative and derogatory towards a specific group of people since the media blackout that it did last year in the wake of George Floyd. Never in the history of my life,
Right.
38 years on this planet, have I seen any concerted effort at that magnitude and legislation being passed that fast for a group of people. Now, I want to know what y'all thoughts are on this. Like, why do you think that this happened so fast?
Well, I'll go real quick because there's a little bit I want to say on this. So, like, I don't necessarily fault PBS because I think PBS has always been kind of like this anyway. Like,
Hold on a sec before you go, because I'm not faulting PPS either. I'm just using them as an example because that's just one of the platforms that I saw it on.
Because they be on it. Like they will,
yeah.
I think, and I'm not laughing at this, but it's just funny to me. But I think that they one point had like a character that like, or a Muppet. I don't know if that's what they call him, but I think he had like AIDS or something, or it was some kind of terminal disease, and they were teaching like kids about that, and I was just like, man, they own it. And that was like from back in the day. But anyway, because I've seen one about coming together and racial injustice, but you're right. Most of that was in wake of George Floyd. So I think that to an extent, I think that George Floyd has kind of changed narratives on certain things, even though some of these companies, especially, don't give a damn. But it's like now it's like almost like having to be checked. Kind of like what you were talking about with the Kwame Brown situation with Stephen A., for example. It's like being the top. It kind of helps with crabs in the barrel syndrome too, because when you have your own platform, you can kind of stop the bleeding. So like it's kind of put Stephen A. in a way to put him in check. Like, bro, you need to start really seeing what you're saying and really like reevaluate how you're doing it. Now you're seeing them in HBCU coats and all this other kind of stuff.
Right.
so I think that it's starting to check everybody at the door to an extent. And the George Floyd thing, because of the way he was killed on live TV with the knee on the neck and all of that, it's forced people to look at it in a certain way. Like, damn. So I think that now, because of this Asian Stop the Asian Hate thing came about. Oh, we got to do something. We got to hurry up. And but to your point, the Stop the Asian Hate thing is a little bit more, to me, more palpable because Asia's almost the new black right now. Their representation is changing. You're starting to see them get a little bit more involved with politics to an extent. It's just Asian culture as a whole too, and what I mean by Asia is like also India. You know, that realm too. You're starting to see them. I mean, Kamala Harris is a prime example. They're starting to talk about her Indian heritage. You know what I mean, and bringing that up. So I think that they are recognizing that it's changing. The demographics are changing, so that they want to showcase like, hey, we think it's important too. What was that show that came on last year? It was like a big Netflix thing. Crazy Asian kids,
Crazy Rich Asians.
Like, look at how they're pushing that. Like, bro, it's, like it shouldn't be pushed that way. It should just be it's a show coming out on Netflix. But because America is so inherently racist, they have to like damn near showcase it that way. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what's kind of changing. I think that hopefully as we continue to go, things will change. But to your point, I mean, Stop the Asian Hate to me is just a little bit more of a marketing tool. But I think that's really what the basis of it's coming from, to me.
Tristan, Montre, what are your thoughts on it? If y'all have any?
To me, I feel like it's a slap in the face for
us. For sure.
Because, man, like you said, George Floyd happened. That was all over CNN, everywhere. People could see it. It was very violent, very ugly to see. So they pushed the agenda a little further. But once you get us quiet, you can go and not say anything about it. There was a kid in Ohio, I think at the beginning of this year, that got shot by a police officer walking into his door with a Subway sandwich. That wasn't on the news. That wasn't on CNN. A couple of cop killings happened within the last couple of months. It's gotten real quiet, real fast. No disrespect to the Asian community. I love everybody, but the event that happened in Atlanta was tragic, and rest in peace to the people that lost their lives during that. But after that, everything got pushed real fast, and it was highlighted, and it's been highlighted ever since. But the one thing that happened, bills got passed, or bills legislation happened. Not a thing happened for us yet. George Floyd happened a year ago, but still no results or nothing to protect us from cop killings or hatred that goes on in our community. Police are still getting away with it. Derek Chauvin, and that happened, but we kind of expected that because of how heated that situation was. But it's a whole bunch of other people that died from police ever since then, and that just got administrative leave.
Let's just outside of police brutality, let's just bring up like the historic ramifications of all the shit that's happened to black people throughout the years. You know what I mean? Going all the way back 400 years to slavery and sharecropping, Jim Crow, and now lately is police killings. You know what I mean? I think that we are missing something fundamental behind this. Trey, did you have anything to add before I start explaining?
No, actually, Tristan touched bases on exactly what I was going to talk about. Like, like Joe Biden passed that bill ASAP when that Asian shooting happened. Like, you know what I mean? Immediately. Yeah. Like he said, man, it's a slap in the face for the shit we've been going through.
I want to pick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and let you make your point, Tristan. Then I had something that I think we all missing here, but I'll go ahead and let you finish.
Even what you saying, just hatred. Period. I can't remember exactly where. My mom was telling me a story about a police chief that walked into a restaurant and they told him that they couldn't serve him. He was out of uniform. He comes back the next day in his uniform. They ask him, "What can we do for you?" I was just here yesterday out of uniform, but now that you see I'm the chief of police, I'm somebody.
Yeah, he was. He had to be black, correct?
He was definitely black.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, walk into a diner and that type of things happen. I don't frequent diners like that, but we've all been to them, and you see the looks that we still get to this day. It's a diner locally where I'm at, and you know, you walk in there, it's nothing but Trump supporters in there. In their establishment, and they make it very known that we really don't want you here. But behind their counter is all black cooks.
Now, Trey, you was done before I.
Yeah, I was done.
Okay, so here we go. So this is what I think that we're all missing fundamentally. During the whole entire presidential run of Donald Trump for the last 4 years, he messed up a lot of U.S. relationships with China. We do a lot of business with China. I'm not sure if y'all are aware, and I'm being sarcastic here. I'm not sure if y'all are aware how much business the United States does with China and Southeast Asia in general. I'm not just going to say China because it's to stop Asian hate. It's not just China. But they're one of the largest countries over there, so that's why I was pointing to China. And we do a lot of business with them. Also,
representation.
Southeast Asia, South Korea, we do a lot of business with them. We have, we have an armistice right now where they're one of our allies. We're at war with North Korea, quote unquote. It's an armistice, not war, but we do a lot of business with Asia, in short, and they have a whole country behind the Asian Americans here. They can go back to a country. When I would fly back and forth to Korea, it was always the Korean air was full of Asians going over there to do business. We do a lot of business with Samsung, do a lot of business with Hyundai. These are all Southeast Asia companies, if y'all not aware. I think that's why America jumped on it so fast and passed legislation. Now America doesn't do too much business with I don't know what just happened. I had a screenshot pop up here. Anyway, America doesn't